sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
And I'm Jake, and we have with us our good friend, Ross. Ross, who is here. He can introduce himself and walk you through what he does.
Sure, hey.
Oh, we could jump in just that quickly if you like, Jake.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't we?
Whatever's. I mean, we're just hanging out, right? So sure.
Sure. Yep.
I'm Ross Thompson. I currently work at the guys that make Gloomhaven, so Cephalofair Games. That is how you pronounce it, is Cephalofair Games, right? And I'm rolling off of just attending Gencon.
Hooray!
So, yeah.
So definitely,
we needed a live witness because Dave and I were both supposed to be at Gen Con, and due to unforeseen circumstances, neither of us went to Gen Con. So,
yep. So it is great to have. It's great to have you on the show. It's always good to talk with you and get your take on where things are at in various parts of the toy soldier gaming business. And knowing that it's coming directly after Gen Con is super cool. But already in the chat. Oh, sorry, you're gonna say?
No, I was just saying, like, I'm always glad to talk about it. There's definitely a lot going on, right? And I think right now, like, the last 60 days, I've been very like plugged in, so it's kind of fun to like chat about what's going on.
You have very much been inside the Matrix, without a doubt.
Totally.
Yeah, so I saw Ross 2 weeks ago at San Diego, and we were talking like the first day, and he was saying, yeah, like the Kickstarter is like basically gonna wrap up. Backer Kit. It was gonna wrap. The crowdfunding platform was going to wrap up while like you guys were getting ready to launch the first day, and you were like, oh, we're like, you kept checking your phone and stuff, and then you were stoked. I mean, it was really, really cool to see that kind of happen in real time. But I'm sure it's been just an absolute whirlwind for you with everything going on. And I mean, congrats on it. Like you guys fully funded, had awesome numbers. Like that's awesome. If you want to walk us through that or walk our viewers through that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit during the thing, right? But yeah, pretty much at Comic-Con, our campaign launched on June 19th and ended July 20th, which was the preview night of Comic-Con. It ended at 6 p.m. and the Comic-Con started Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So it could not have had any more of like a transition from here you go, like running your 30-day campaign, to here you go, it's Comic-Con. So like on Thursday morning of Comic-Con, when I woke up in the hotel room, like my body did one of those like just like stress shakes where it's like it released, and I was like, oh my gosh, cool, phase 1 done. Now time for Comic-Con, and then it's gonna be right after that. So
did you how? I mean, I know you've done quite a few crowdfunding campaigns with a bunch of different companies.
Yeah.
Did you have? How long does it usually take for you after you finish that you're not there, like regularly checking updates on the phone.
That's
Like when it finishes, like can you immediately go, or is it like a couple of days where you're
Well,
always
it's
reaching
weird,
in?
right? So, like aftercare after working on any big project, I think is very important, right? And
Yeah.
and I think being able, like right now, I'm sure over the next few days, everybody's going to have emotional drop after Gen Con because it was such a big show, and just dealing with seeing people we only see a couple times a year.
Yeah.
Everybody had a really good show, and it was record number of people, so it was just like a lot of things going on. I know this morning I was just like, kind of stuff. And even during Comic Con, I was commenting to people about how I haven't had time to debrief or I de-stress myself from the campaign because it was right into the show, which
Yeah.
I was doing like 5 panels, a big party, an RPG room, and we had a booth, right? So there
Yep.
was no time to really do that. And it was like, I think the Monday of Comic Con or after Comic Con where I was like, oh, cool. Bleh. And then all of that. But like where it's been kind of interesting is our pledge manager is going to be opening this week,
Right.
right? And then we're going to be able to do all that stuff and everything there. But where this campaign is different than every other campaign I've worked on since 2011 is that backer kit, the page is live.
Right.
It is living, right? And we actually launched the page on June 1st when we announced we were going to be doing Gloomhaven 2nd Edition.
Okay.
And that was a brand new feature of Backer Kit. And so normally for a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter, you'd have the Notify Me page that would go up whenever you're ready.
Yep.
And then people can start signing up to get the email notifications. And then that page then turns into the live page.
Yep.
Right? And you have to make sure that you have the ref code to change that URL to your stuff there. With Backer Kit, what they now have as a feature is you can create this launch party page. And this launch party page is a living page where once it's live, you can do email signups, you can do updates, people can do comments, you can do polls, you can do all kinds of stuff. So for the 2 weeks leading up to the beginning of the campaign, by the way, if it's a dog barking, that's like the outside mic thing. Sorry if that's going on.
That's okay. I thought it was
dog
Jake's
friendly.
dogs. It's okay.
Yeah, my girls are upstairs. They're being quiet. So
Cool.
Yeah, I have the cross breeze going on, so I just realized there's a dog barking.
Yeah.
It's
No,
all good.
All good. Not a problem.
Oh, okay. So with the launch party page, you are allowed to or able to like pretty much run a whole thing during that, which I don't think we truly understood that even going into before the campaign. Like I could have had a whole marketing thing going on before that, where we did weekly updates, did some stuff and some live streams. So we were still rocking it,
Yeah.
but we were still in campaign prep mode, right? Because it
Sure.
was still like 3 weeks before, so we were still getting all the graphics ready, everything else, and all of that. I think looking back on it, one of the things I want to do is like the minute we open up that page, boom, like let's have pre-marketing. I don't know if 3 weeks beforehand would be the right way to do that
Sure.
because all of that, but what we ended up doing when we did that though was the energy was there. And so
Right.
we had to answer questions and do stuff and all of that. So while the campaign itself was only 30 days, the pre-stuff was there. So
Yeah.
like when I ran into Jake at Comic-Con, it wasn't just 30 days. It had been like 2 months essentially of like in campaign mode and everything there.
Yeah.
And now like the campaign ended that Wednesday, and now here we are after Gen Con, and we are going to be doing these updates a little bit where it's like, hey, we're going to do every 2 weeks do an update to kind of share where we're at, because that's what Isaac and Price did for Frosthaven, which was very successful, and it kept everybody updated on what's going on.
Yeah.
But the comment section is living and breathing, right? And I was worried that I would have to be answering questions and doing stuff, but because of how Cephalofair, Gloomhaven, Frosthaven community is, we've got 3 or 4 people that are answering questions better than I could.
Right.
Like they've got like people are answering questions and they're like, here's where they said this, here's where they said this, here's where they said this, go to this page on Board Game Geek, and I'm like, oh man, this like great. You know, like it's totally
Yep.
covered. And we have these super backers that are doing all of that. That being said, we haven't given attention to the page outside of a couple updates since the campaign ended. So once the pledge manager opens up this week, we're going to be doing 5 waves of fulfillment over the next 2 years.
Okay.
This campaign where it's going to be open, People are going to pay for shipping at each of the 5 different waves and do all that stuff. So we're going to be running this back end process where I think for a lot of campaigns it's like, oh cool, Pledge Manager is open, do the thing and all of that. Yep. And we can get into like the money that you make on that and why that's really important as a business in probably a different conversation. But this is going to be a big part of our business plan over the next year and a half is sure we're going to go to shows, we're going to make sure retailers have stuff, but we're going to be running all of that. And I've got to make sure that we don't treat it with the same energy that we did the campaign or else we're going to burn ourselves out so quick, right? So that aftercare, like I'm taking this week off pretty much.
Right.
I'm going to be like, hey, deuces, like don't talk to me at all kind of thing.
I'm going to be relaxing on the beach.
It's going to happen.
For sure.
Right. But then after that, I'll come back in and be like, cool, let's figure out what that's going to be. But the same energy is not going to be there. I mean, we did on top of the campaign, we also live streamed for 30 days straight, about 4 to 6 hours minimum, with gameplays and previews and interviews and stuff. And like we had a whole team that was managing all that kind of stuff, making sure it was happening. And a lot of that was planned as we could because while we had a full schedule prepped, at the same time it's like, oh, people want to see more miniatures being painted. Let's get some people. They want some more role-playing game stuff. You got to go that. So like, It was a whole thing, So I don't think I've even properly like deconstructed everything that happened over that time. So it's going to be neat to talk about it over the next few months.
Yeah.
And do all that.
So I have a mechanical question for you, and I don't know if you can answer this. Great. If you can't, whatever. I understand that none of us work for a crowdfunding platform, but so I know now that you have Kickstarter, you've got GameFound. The other one, BackerKit has their own thing, but they used to work for Kickstarter as like a fulfillment service, right?
No.
So when I'm gonna do my old school stuff here. So the first Kickstarter I ever worked on was Zombicide with Cool Mini or Not before they were CMON.
Yep.
Right, and that was back in like the age of exploration.
Yeah, that was the game that broke Kickstarter.
Yeah, well, I mean, like for a short story of like back in the day, we were at the first PAX East with Cool Mini or Not showing off back when they were still an online store that had miniature. When you voted on the miniatures and how cool they were or not, right? Yeah. Like you guys know that stuff, right? And
yeah, the kids ask me and they're like, "What is it?" I'm like, "They were like miniatures Reddit. Like you could upvote minis." Is literally what it was.
Oh, yeah. And their whole goal was they wanted to be the online store for all the miniatures, so that if you voted on the miniature and you liked it, you could just click and buy it right there. Yeah. Right, and like that was their original goal. But we ran into the guys from Fun to 11, who had just run Miskatonic School for Girls, which raised like $30,000 for a board game. And right before that, they had done Flame War, which was the internet moderation game by Andy Chambers, right? Like that little keyboard box thing. It was silly and dumb. They'd raised like $20,000 for that, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, how do we be a part of this?" Right? And so we had a big talk with them at the show, and then 5 months later, whenever it was, we launched Zombicide, and and then did all that. But at that point in time, there was only the survey system, right? And we were still including paying for shipping in the pledge and stuff like that. And like you can look back at like Steve Jackson's Ogre, where they had like 20 different pledge levels because they were trying to country out the different tiers depending on where you were backing for. And even though they raised like $3 million at that point in time, like they didn't make $3 million, right? Because they had to like pay for all the shipping fees and Kickstarter pulls 10% and stuff like that. So that survey system used to be kind of that key for a long time. But then when Pledge Manager came around and
that's Pledge Manager with a capital P, capital M. So
correct, yeah.
The
and
company
that
Pledge
was
Manager that made a Pledge Manager. Yep.
Correct, yeah. So that was the first one that did that, and they became kind of the Xerox of like they branded that now became a Pledge Manager, right? And it's why you're managing your pledge and you're doing your thing is because they came around and did all that, and so they had to work with Kickstarter to do all that integration to get your data and everything there. And it was a big deal when that happened because everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, where's my money going?" And you're like, well, your money's now turning into a credit it's going to be on this system, and this system's going to be an online store. It's going to manage your pledge because we're going to charge you for shipping now. And then everyone's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And you're like, no, this is good for us. It's good for you. You're going to get your stuff better. But something really funny that I've noticed now is tabletop games are one of the only categories on crowdfunding that actually use an after kit, an after program. Most of them just use the survey system that Kickstarter has.
Yep.
So with Kickstarter buying Pledge Manager in the last year and using that whole system, that's going to be a shift for so many other categories with music, technology, products, and so on, because they haven't needed to use that, because board gamers are the one that want to add the extra minis or the dice or the tile set or everything else, where most other things are like, you've backed the thing, we've added a t-shirt, what size do you want, right? So, so like that's going to be a whole thing. So to get to your question that you had asked, right? So Backer Kit essentially was a back-end system that was different than Pledge Manager. GameFound, Pledge Manager, and Backer Kit all do that. There was CrowdOx at one point in time too, and a couple other ones that just kind of went away of the thing. But there's different companies, like Steamforged, they use GameFound. A lot of companies use Backer Kit, and then a lot of companies use Pledge Manager. And so essentially when Kickstarter had announced they were going to be doing blockchain NFT support and whatever that was, certain companies were like, well, I don't want to do that. And so Backer Kit was like, hey, we can do front-facing crowdfunding. Let's do that, right? And so they had a couple of companies that hopped on, like Green Ronin, they did their big thing on there, and Restoration Games, Return to Dark Tower on there, and there's been some other ones that did that, but it wasn't as open. You had to like ask Backer Kit, hey, can we be on your platform? Can we do these things?
Right.
And so essentially we worked with them to be the flagship launch of them publicly opening to allow people to do front-facing crowdfunding on that, which is why this campaign was such a big deal for us and for them, because so at the end of our campaign, they announced, open for business. Let's do front-facing crowdfunding and do all that going there. So you can get on their website now and check it all out and do all that, which is kind of neat. So
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I was just curious, because like as a store owner, like as a gamer, like you guys, like I've backed stuff on crowdfunding platforms. But as a store owner, we have like a store account for like CMON is a good example, right? So CMON's Marvel Zombies, we backed it, and then they changed the way that they did it on Kickstarter. It was, we clicked the retailer option, and then they would reach out to me and go, okay, so you have to buy this case of 6 of whatever it is, and then you can add, that's what we charge you for now, and we charge you like $100 so it doesn't tie up your capital, and then later on you can add whatever you want. And I was like, oh, that's great. So I used to tell my customers all the time, they're like, well, why shouldn't I just get it on Kickstarter? And I was like, if you want to back it, you totally can, but they're going to tie up your $350 all-in pledge right now. Whereas if you tell me you want it, I will order you one. You can put down a $50 deposit, and you can pay me when it comes out. Like, you don't need to do any of that. You don't need to tie up another $300 of your money. And then recently they've switched over to GameFound, and the last 2, I think Marvel Ultimate and I think the Zombicide, was it White Death? Those were both on GameFound.
I haven't backed the CMON project in forever, though they got me on Mordred.
Yes.
And,
Just
and which are,
just quickly, I'm going to interrupt for a second, guys.
Yeah.
So it's not me looking bored.
Yeah, you look super frozen. I've noticed you've been frozen for a bit now.
I have been frozen for a bit. I'm not sure why my camera is frozen, so I'm going to switch to a view that doesn't have me on the screen.
Kind of great. Guys, now's your time to draw a little mustache on your screen on Dave, and then there's nothing you can do about it. Now's your chance.
We'll see what happens. One thing that I will also do as well is we haven't said hi to everybody in the chat. So hi to Josh, hi to Patrick, hi to Nicole, Scott. Scott has a bunch of questions. I think he was hoping to slip in like question time like he did last week.
Yeah, he's got some great questions. Scott always has some real winners.
Excellent, and
yes,
and David's here as well.
So Nicole works for me. So Nicole is at the shop, and apparently we're live in the shop. So like the whole store is listening to this. So
Oh, cool. Awesome.
That's
Buy
what I figured. I saw the
games
high
if you
dad,
are
and I
there.
figured,
Buy games. It's good. You need a paint pot.
well, if you guys want to help Ross out, we have I think we have Frosthaven and Gloomhaven in stock with a bunch of the expansions. So
just wander
It's
on
a
over
board
the
game
shelf.
and a home gym. You're
Yeah.
good. It's a board game.
100% lift with your legs.
Awesome. And John Schaefer is here as well. Flan Wan.
Oh, nice.
Hello, dudes.
It has been a bit.
Yep, super cool. Thanks for joining us, John. Well, now that we're now we've got this picture up.
Oh, there we go.
That was my main. you thought my audio had frozen as well. No, it's just
Yeah, I was like, is he still frozen?
my camera's still frozen. It's terrible.
Oh, is that one of my photos?
It
Yeah.
is, yeah. So this is
Oh, man, so we were a little late getting out of bed and getting to the booth. We got caught in that 10 a.m.
Oh.
traffic.
so yeah. This is the traffic in front of the vendor hall at Gencon. So what we've got for you guys tonight, we've got a bunch of photos, a couple of photos from Ross from Gencon, and a bunch of photos from Josh Potter, our roving reporter. We're gonna have to make up a little badge for him and send him with that next time. But so lots of great stuff from Gen Con. I think everybody can comment on it, and hopefully Josh will be able to throw in some additional comments along the way. But yeah,
Ross,
so
Ross, you didn't do the vendor trick where you can like go all the way down to the last ones that are not supposed to be entrances, and you can get in those ones.
Oh, we were on our way there.
yeah,
Yeah. We this year was a bit different for me. Every Gen Con is different, right? Like last year was Team Forge. I was in the event hall the whole time, so I never even got to see the event hall at all. This year, for Gloomhaven, we have a rock star booth team, and they were there at 9 a.m. They were running these things and doing all of that. I almost felt in their way as I was trying to help set up the booth and do stuff. They're like, "We got it. We're good to go," and I was like, "Cool, I'll cut up boxes or do a thing," right? So each morning I was like, I can be there at the booth. They're like, "Cool, yeah, show up at like 9:45 or whatever. We got it." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." Like a couple of the days I was there early, but a couple I wasn't, which was a new thing for me. And Saturday, Price and I had breakfast, and then we're off to the booth and got caught in that 10 o'clock swirl. We were heading to the opening at H to get around and go up to the hall, but we got caught in that. So the cool thing is, in that photo, you can kind of see the flow of traffic a little bit, right? Like right in front of us there, that like two rows are heading a certain way, and that was moving. It was just everything next to us was a wall of people waiting to get in.
yep.
Which was crazy. So I had never been in that in a hot minute, and I guess for a record year to be that on a Saturday was an experience. So
Yeah.
I don't get claustrophobic, but if I did, I suppose that would have been when it would have kicked in.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot. Like I was there. What was it? 5 years ago? 4 or 5 years ago. Whatever was the 50th anniversary, Gen Con 50, whatever that one was. That was the year that they like until this Saturday. They broke all the records. Like it was the busiest day they'd ever had. And I think that year still has the biggest attendance. Like they had the biggest single day was this Saturday, but I think they sold more individual badges than they ever had the 50th year, which was crazy. And I was like, this is a lot of people. But like being at San Diego Comic-Con now, like this is like this was Wednesday night at San Diego Comic-Con.
and so the big difference between Gen Con and Comic-Con when it comes to people is that the convention center is much at San Diego has bigger aisles, right? And they space out the aisles and they do these things. There's bigger doors. Everything is prepped. There's much more security. So Comic-Con is prepped for all these stuff. The line management at Comic-Con is a science. Like they've got signs everywhere. Are you doing this? Are you doing that? The communication about where to go is down to you're being herded, but at least like you know what lines you're in. If you want to get your ticket so that you can get a time to go to the Hasbro booth to buy a thing. You know what line to go to. You know what room to go to get in line to go get the ticket to go do the thing.
Yeah.
Which is an ordeal, and it will take a few hours. But at the same time, if Ravensburger and Lorcana and Gencon had realized the amount of crazy that was going to happen around Lorcana, and I don't know how you prep for that, but but if they had taking a hint from Hasbro or Funko or Mattel on how they do line management at Comic-Con would have been applied. And so I think like by day 2 they had done that line. You can wait in to go do that and everything else. But even then, like Funko and Hasbro, they have you go to another ballroom to get your ticket to tell you what time to go get in line. Yeah. And then at that point in time, that line will then take you to the booth. And then they have lines in the hall that are in the middle of the aisles being managed by people being like, here's the on deck line to go to the booth, which I think would have helped. I know it's like 4 lines to wait in to go buy a thing, but at least you understand the ritual that you are about to endure to go buy the thing versus the manic Friday, Black Friday-ness that was a lot of the stuff at Gen Con.
It was crazy. So, like friends of mine were there for that, and like not for Lorcana specifically, but like the first day. So I'm not going to get anybody in trouble, so I won't use any proper nouns. So a couple buddies of mine were there helping out another friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, who was running a booth. So they had vendor badges, so they get in early and set up their booth. So they're walking by, and there's this huge, like we're talking about, like camping out for Star Wars tickets when I was a kid kind of thing. Like there was just this massive line of people, and they were like, "What's that all about? Like you can't get into the hall today. It's just vendors." So they kind of walked by, and they weren't paying attention, and they set everything up, and then they went back out, and then they were asking the guys, like, what are you guys here for? And they're like, oh, we're here for the Disney stuff. And they were like, Disney stuff? And he's like, yeah, it's like the new card game. And they're like, oh, right, Lorcana. And they were like, is there something going on today? Is there an event? And they were like, oh, no, this is so we can get to the booth first when it opens. And they were like, you know it doesn't open today. It doesn't open until tomorrow at 10 a.m. And they were like, yeah. And this was at like 6 at night.
Yep.
So they were like, oh, okay. So they're like, that's really weird that Gen Con's just letting these people line up. So apparently Gen Con wasn't. They had no idea. These people just decided.
For that first night, they weren't.
Yeah, right. So these were all waiting. So then they get there in the morning, and obviously as a vendor, you can get in a little bit early to go to the hall and go to your booth and whatnot. So they're walking by, and they see people in line, and they said that when they opened the doors, a bunch of people that just were attendees just went in and then went right to the Ravensburger booth and basically passed all these people that had been waiting for like a day in line. He was like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And then after that first day, Gen Con apparently got involved and was like, you can't do this. Like, we're going to set up a new thing. There were also some scab vendors who were waiting in line, buying the maximum allotment, and then putting it on their web store, like selling it, like blowing it out for crazy prices.
I mean that's always going to happen, right? So,
yeah.
but
sure, but like knowing that there were like store owners that were doing that, I was like, I would probably take note of that, find out what store they are, but it was just crazy. And I do like that by the second day, Gen Con then was, so like if Ross and I waited in line, Dave, they would cut off the corner of our badge to show that we've waited in line, so you can't do it again.
Right.
So they were trying to maximize it. But again, to Ross's point, I thought it was kind of funny that Gen Con did that, not Ravensburger. Like, I don't think Ravensburger took any kind of accountability to be like, how do we prep this? Like, what do we do? Like, I just don't think they thought about it.
I'm sure they had conversations with like, hey, we're going to do this thing for you, right? But it's definitely one of those weird things where it's like, how do you manage that on the fly and communicate effectively? Obviously, next year now, there's going to be a question to vendors, right? Do you have a game that is going to be this level of hotness? How do we address that? Yeah. Which is crazy to think about. Yeah. But at the same time, like if that's where we're at, then that's what we got to do. You know?
I think there's also a bit of a disconnect between the different offices. So a good friend of mine runs stores in like Central Europe, and we were talking about Ravensburger, and he was like, "Oh yeah, they're that company that makes all the kids games and puzzles." And I went, what? And he was like, that's literally the lion's share of their business. And we were talking about Lorcana, and I think this was like either just after or just before Gamma. And he was like, oh yeah, their whole business is they make puzzles and games and like really family friendly, like young kid stuff. And I was like, oh, well, they must be really excited about Lorcana. And he was like, I know the U.S. office really pushed for it because they already have the Disney license because they do Villainous. He's like, but the European office, he's like, I don't want to say they don't care because that's the wrong way to look at it. He's like, but like it's not what they do. So they were like, it's like, that's not really part of our business model. He's like, so I don't think they even considered how crazy this would be because they're like, we make puzzles. Like, you know what I mean? Like that wasn't
well,
what
so the thing that would have given me a red flag flare up would have been at Gamma.
Yep.
Their retailer presentation, all the normal rooms, the retailer one for Lorcana was maxed out. There were people sitting on the floor. They had to move into a larger ballroom, and then like a lot of the retailers left other presentations to go to that because the room was bigger.
Yep.
And like at that point in time, I would have been like, right? Like there's something going on. But at the same time, like it's tough because they can't manage the secondary market, but knowing that that's going to go crazy. At D23 earlier this year, when they saw those cards were going for like $1,000, I would have been like, okay, how do you get on that? But it's tough because like Flesh and Blood is also out right now too, and My Hero Academia is doing its thing, which are big IPs, but they're not at that same level. So how do you gauge it? And it's like, well, it's Disney and it's Ravensburger, and it's got good names attached to it, and the art is hot. So, But here we go. You know, like if I had been on that marketing team, I would have done something totally different. I would have printed out like 30,000 demo decks, and I would have had it been like demo all over it, and I just would have handed it like candy at the booth.
Yep.
You know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would have rather had people playing the game,
exactly,
that than treating it like it's this Comic-Con. I need to buy the Hasbro Galactus 1 of 50 thing, right? Because like, what kind of community do you want to have? You know, and I would rather have people playing in the halls till 2 a.m. at Gencon. And oh my gosh, did I get the special Moana Secret Edition card thing because I got the booster pack whatever, right? Like it's tough. I mean, we're also dealing with a paper shortage right now. We're dealing with the distribution shortage right now. So like maybe they just couldn't physically print that many cards, right?
Yeah.
So
it's just been crazy. Like the kind of the interesting thing. I mean, for a lot of us wear a lot of hats, and I think the interesting thing for me is, as a fan and as a gamer myself, but then also being a store owner, I kind of get to see like a whole different side that I wouldn't have thought about as a fan. And if I was just a store owner, it's a whole different side I get to see like as the fan themselves. But like I have friends of mine who are calling who are like, hey, like my niece is a huge Disney fan. Can I get that stuff? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, so she just wants like the art. And I'm like, right. It's like little kids who collect Pokemon. They don't play it. They just collect Pokemon. So you've got the whole gamer crowd who's like, I want to get into this new card game. And then you've got the whole Disney fan base who are like, it says Disney. I don't care if it's a thermos or underwear or a playmat, like I want it. Right. And then there's like the gamers who are like, or the collectors who are like, I just want to get the things. And it's like, most games don't have that kind of 3-tier kind of penetration.
But which is why it's going to do pretty well, is as long as they can supply the product. Right? Yeah. And that's going to be the big thing. It's like right now for your store, did you sign up for organized play?
Yeah. Oh, you had to. Like, but I have friends of ours who are like, oh, I didn't.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Like my main LGS isn't getting cards because they didn't sign up for organized play, because the two other game stores that liked organized play, they did. So they all talked, and they're like, cool, we're not going to get into your business and do that. We'll just get it later. Then they didn't get their allocation because they weren't doing organized play. And they're like, well, that sucks. So look at the restock when it comes in back in September or October. But now they're going to miss out on that opening weekend, which would have been hot, right?
I think you're right with communication though too. Like, so we were at Gamma obviously, and they talked about that. They were like, at the booth, they were like, hey, make sure you guys sign up to be an organized play store, and like you get like but their pitch was, well, you get the organized play kit and you get the promos, and I was like, okay, cool, and then. There was no launch date though, so we were like, "Oh, I guess we get time." And then my rep at Peach State, you shout out to the guys at Peach State; they were great. So my rep was like, "Hey, are you going to carry Lorcana?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think we're going to do it." And he's like, "Have you signed up for their OP, like their organized play thing online?" And I was like, "I haven't." And he's like, "I'll send you the links right now. Make sure you sign up." And I was like, "Really?" He goes, everything I'm hearing is that there's nowhere near enough product, but the organized play stores are guaranteed to get some stuff.
Correct.
Like,
Because
and I was
they're
like,
being promoted on the website, doing the whole thing, doing
Yeah.
all that, right? Yeah.
but
yeah.
I
Okay, guys.
didn't realize it was that big of a thing. You know, until-
Dave's like, this is a card game conversation, and I don't know how to do
let's
that.
let's move on. Let's stop talking about lines. Let's stop talking about card games.
Wow.
Sorry,
Anyway,
guys.
obviously we could talk about this for a while, right?
Dave, we're
So,
talking about
which
the
is-
new hotness. It's what all the kids want.
Sure. If I was to have a
Moderate
question,
away,
if I
Dave,
was
we're
to
good.
have a question here, it would be, Ross, do you think this sort of thing helps or hurts? But anyway, I don't have that question. We'll move on to the rest of Gen Con.
It helps.
Let's not
It
worry
helps.
about that.
It helps. More hot games doing stuff. I've been saying for the last 3 years, the biggest trend in gaming is more butts and seats.
Yep.
It doesn't matter the IP, doesn't matter the mechanic, doesn't matter any of that stuff. The biggest trend in gaming is going to be more butts and seats. Lorcan is doing that, and that's going to be great.
Okay, cool. Just quickly, Scott says, are we really talking about lines to go and stand in another line? If it is Adepticon like that, I'm all the way out if that's the case. Adepticon is not like that. There will be one line, and that is the line to get registered. If you arrive on the Wednesday, I would suggest not standing in that line and just go and do it on the Thursday, early morning.
Yeah, that being said, that line could be shorter.
Yeah.
That is a long-ass line.
That
I
could
have
be
never
short,
not
sure.
exhibited at that show. Thank God.
Excellent.
So-
Okay. Well, the the photo that I've got up there that we've had up for the last part of the conversation.
The booth.
The booth.
the
The booth. I got it. So that's our booth at Gen Con.
Yep.
We rocked it this year. We brought a huge wall of Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, Jaws the Lion. All of our accessory products are things. We had 4 tables for demos showing off the RPG, playing Frosthaven with the Gloomhaven 2.0 characters. We had our painted miniatures painted by Chris from Brushwood Minis, painted by Elizabeth from
The
Miniature Monthly.
Yep,
And
Miniature Monthly.
yeah, Mistress, right? And we had we've got our Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs, our little solo play thing, all going on, and we did demos every day, signups, and did all that. We were doing 1 hour slots for all that kind of stuff, and we were packed the whole time.
Cool.
It was super cool. We didn't do any exclusives, so we don't do any FOMO based stuff. Anything you can get at the booth, you can get at retail, online, wherever, which was cool. At the end of the show, all we had left was 5 Frosthaven and like some accessory stuff.
Wow.
So we sold out of all the Gloomhaven we brought, all the Jaws of the Lion we brought. 5 Frosthaven was cool. That's all going to go to PAX West, which is rad. Our team did some super cool stuff. We had Laser Rocks in the booth with us too.
Yep.
They're our Hungarian partner who does the wooden laser cut stuff, the inserts for the Frosthaven and Gloomhaven, but they also do like RPG accessories and board game accessories too. I'm now having seen their inserts,
Yep.
not their inserts, but their board game token accessory cup
Sure,
like,
yep.
things. I'm gonna order a full set because they can do all these custom colors and these things, and I'm gonna get like a purple redwood oak.
Yep.
I was trying to figure out how it could. Anyway,
Is organizer
Yeah.
the right word? Custom
organizer is the right word. Yeah. So we use Laser Rocks and Folded Space,
Yep.
who both provide different kinds of inserts. Folded Space does colored and graphic foam-based ones.
Okay.
That are really cool, and they do those for a handful of licensed games. Same with Laser Rocks; they do those with a handful of licensed things there, and which is all pretty cool. So
We have the folded space stuff at our store. It's awesome. It is such a cool thing, and for anybody who's into tons of like board games, even like the miniature heavy ones. The thing I like about their stuff is it's literally like it's like a high density like thin layer of foam that they like basically print on, almost like the stuff that almost like the Warsenal does.
Yep.
Where
Very,
it's like
very cool.
it's like snap together like buildings and terrain kits, only it's a snap together organizer. So it's like your cards go here and your minis go here and your dice go here, and it's great because it weighs almost nothing because it's foam. So it's really, really cool. It really does a lot of heavy lifting to keep the game organized. And believe it, with this game you 100% need it. But
Well,
don't need to make
I
the
will
box be
say,
heavier.
for Frosthaven, the insert's way better than Gloomhaven. We hired this submarine engineer to do the work for Frosthaven so that he could figure out the exact things we needed to, essentially so you don't need an insert, but obviously the insert doesn't have the pull-out character dashboards and the components and everything else. So if you want to have putting the game away and setting it up is a whole feat in itself.
Sure.
So having those inserts allows you to just pull it out, have your characters set up, good to go. But the cool thing is the one that's there does fit everything in the box a lot better. But it is 34 pounds of components.
Right.
So it is pretty crazy that's even a thing.
Yeah.
So I like the billfold thing too.
Oh yeah, the map tile thing really helps because you've got the that huge chunk of stuff. So being able to find tile 31, tile 15, and just find it right away is pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Super cool. So the photo we've got up now, that's in the booth. I'm guessing demo game going on.
Yeah, so we're going through Frosthaven, the demo, but we have the option to use either Frosthaven base characters or Gloomhaven second edition characters, because essentially for second edition in the campaign, that was to bring it up to Frosthaven level of mechanics, card layout, icons, that kind of stuff there. So now everything is going to be at that Frosthaven level of look, gameplay, mechanics, balance, and everything like that.
Right. Super cool. Excellent.
What do you got next, Dave?
Next up is we have the team. So I grabbed a shot of the Cephalofair team, the booth team, I guess.
Let's see it. I'm waiting on the photo.
It's coming. There's always a little lag, but
They're all good.
Yep.
Anyway, so they're Arcana, and no.
Sorry, Scott.
There we go.
Scott says submarine engineer. They've been taking it on the shins lately. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, well, right, yeah. Well, it's Polygon did a whole article with an interview with Isaac about it. So if you want to read about the guy that we hired and the work that he's done and all that kind of stuff like that, Polygon's got a whole article about it. It's a pretty cool read. I had no idea until Isaac casually dropped it in a press interview, and I was like, we're gonna make that a press beat. And he's like, oh yeah, that'd be kind of cool, huh? And I'm like, yes, that would be cool. Let's go do that. Yeah. So here's our team. So Chris Kessler is our main shipping guy, warehouse guy. Jake's gonna get to know him really well as he orders more product from Chris. And essentially, he's our events guy and gets all our team together for all the different shows they've been at. Gamma, PAX East, Origins, Comic-Con, Gencon. We're going to be at PAX West, Spiel, PAX Unplugged. So we've got a whole crew that we bring out. We pay our people too, which is great. We put them up in rooms, do all that. They get fed, everything else. And Monica from Geeks A Go-Go, she's our full-time cosplayer and prop builder. She's out there rocking it, doing all those things as well. So we've got a whole crew that lives and breathes Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, knows the stuff, I think, better than most of us do, which is great. So it's a pretty tight crew, and this Gen Con was nice because we had not all been in the same place at once this con season. So it was pretty cool to be able to hang out and do all that. The energy was lovely.
Excellent. That's very cool. I think I was going to say, so how many Gen Cons have you been to? Do you know?
This was my 15th.
15th. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I've never come to Gen Con as a consumer. I've always worked it.
Okay.
So my first Gen Con I came out to was in 2008, and I worked it as a press ganger for Privateer Press, which I was bummed about because I had just missed SoCal Gen Con, which only happened for 2 years, but that was the last year they had it. I didn't even know it was a thing because we were all on forums back then. Right. So the Privateer Press forums were a thing and all of that. So if I would have known, I would have gone to LA to go to that, but it didn't make it the next year, so I missed it. But yeah, so I've been going for a hot minute.
Excellent. That's cool. Now I remember I think it was my first Gen Con. And I bring this up because I've seen the team and I've seen photos on your Facebook as well of all you guys out to dinner. I remember my first Gen Con. I was wandering around Indianapolis one evening, not sure what was going on. I was like, oh yeah, just come in and grab a drink with us, and walked in, and it was I think it was the Ninja Division team. You were probably with at the time. So
I was.
Yep.
Oh man, those were days.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, 2014 I think that was. But no, awesome.
Yeah, those were good times.
Yep.
Those were good times.
Excellent. Okay, so should we jump in now to have a look at some of Josh's photos?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's have a run through.
Josh took a bunch of great photos. He had a really cool video he did, like a whole sort of pan of the whole place, which looked rad.
Yep, I did not grab the video though. Sorry.
No, I figured not.
Yeah, I've grabbed a small selection of all of Josh's photos. You can definitely go to the Facebook group Build Paint Play and check them all out. The first one we've got here is of some Star Wars gaming underway.
Oh, for the Shatterpoint?
I'm not sure if this was Shatterpoint or I think this might have been Legion. Some of the Legion
I
games.
haven't seen photos yet, so I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
That is Legion.
If it's more than 8 minis, it's Legion. If there's less than 8 minis, it's
Well, I got to admit, on my screen it's tiny. It's super tiny.
That's
so I can't
that's
see
Legion.
any
Yeah,
minis.
that's Legion. That's Legion.
I think the well, I know that Hank from Adepticon took a whole bunch of terrain for use by AMG at the show. So I think this was probably stuff that we painted at Spray Team back in January.
it is. I recognize it.
And there was a whole bunch of Shatterpoint stuff was done by a group of guys about 2 weeks ago. So another summer Spray Team event.
They look great. Those like Ewok huts are awesome.
They're so good. They're so thematic too, right? Like it's just.
Yeah.
I haven't really jumped into Legion. It's one of the few games that I haven't like taken the plunge. But I was like, now that Ewoks are out, I was like, guess who's making a cannibal teddy bear army?
I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, is it going to be a troll army? Is it going to be competitive? What are you going to do?
I just think it'll be hilarious. Like, I don't care if I get my face kicked in every week, but like you can run. So you just run a bunch of them. They all have the guerrilla tactics thing, so they get all kinds of crazy like weird defense moves and stuff. And then, but the best one is if you take the Ewoks, you can take an ATST with Chewbacca,
Right.
which is awesome. So
Sure, why not? Right? Like
That's awesome.
that's great.
Josh says I should have taken pics in landscape. Sorry. Next time you're all good. Once we get you that official badge, you can take the landscape. And John Schaefer says, "Yeah, Legion, funny. We helped paint that indoor stuff." Yeah, I think John did the lion's share of that indoor stuff actually. Next photo we've got is inside Lucas Oil Stadium. So this is where normally you would go and see the Colts play.
So I've never been. I think I've done 9 Gen Cons or well, there was one that. Oh no, they all happened, right?
Oh well,
I
during
think-
COVID.
Yeah, well, because it was.
2020
Oh no.
didn't. 2020 didn't.
Okay. So so then I've done. I think I've done 8 or 9, one of those two. In all the times I've gone, I've never gotten over to the stadium. I'm always like Ross. I'm always working it. Like I never.
I haven't either. I know it exists.
Yeah.
Right. So
Well, this is what it looked like this year. I think Josh had a couple of games that he was running down on the floor there.
Nice.
But I think there was a whole bunch of
Check it
miniature
out.
games being played over here, as well as
Ross, we'll have to check it out next year. We'll have to make a point to like
I-
walk over and check it out.
well, I mean, it definitely feels like they just have a lot of open gaming over there and stuff like that. So I almost feel like they need a driver to get more of us over there. But it's like a 10-minute walk, right? Like it's
Yeah, I mean
close.
the junker facility is huge. It's like it'd be the equivalent of walking from like the hotels to like Hall H at San Diego Comic Con.
Oh yeah,
It'd be like being in like the Omni and having to walk to Hall H.
I would need a reason to go over there.
it's
to go to there,
a lot
right?
quicker if
So-
you run though.
Oh yeah, it's a good point, Dave. I didn't think about that.
Whoa, what's that word? I mean, it's like,
All good. Yep. Josh says, with as many people on the field playing games, it was very quiet.
oh, that's actually probably a good upsell.
There's a yeah, exactly. nice and quiet out there.
Goodman, do you mean like Goodman Games' van, Josh?
I would guess so. But
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
next up, of course, I had to put in the this wonderful classic. Is a picture of Hero Quest in a cabinet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I want to see it. Let's see.
I'm gonna have to buy this. Like,
So who's doing Hero Quest? Who did the remake of this?
it's
Avalon Hill
Avalon
did
Hill.
it, and it is Hasbro that got it done.
Yeah.
Right.
Back in not on this public call, but let me tell you about Hero Quest at some point in time.
Okay, sounds like an
and
exciting
why
story.
it's back.
The
But
thing
yeah,
that's
so
funny is like they teased it last year at Origins because I have a bunch of they were giving out handouts, the tear off sheets of all the character sheets, and they knew I was a retailer, so they gave me a whole thing of them, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
yeah, it's pretty neat because essentially they've got this whole it's back, right? And they so in the new version, they've taken out all the Games Workshop references,
Right.
and this is just a Hasbro edition, right?
Okay.
So while the Gargoyle is still there, he's not a mini bloodthirster anymore. Zargon is not a wizard of chaos, right? And then all the orc and corn symbols are gone and pulled and all that. So this is just a Hero Quest Hasbro version. And now what they're doing is they're coming out with all the different expansions. For that, they just had the 30th anniversary of one of the expansions release about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And they had a whole thing where that, and essentially, if you want to, you can follow Zargon on Twitter, and they have the wizard does all these things, and they also release a app where it can play as the wizard. So now instead of playing it head to head, you can play co-op through the game, which is like one of the best things ever now. So now you can all play the game together instead of playing against somebody having to be like the board game, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Excellent.
It's kind of too bad. It's kind of too bad that Hasbro just didn't work something out with GW. Like I was like, why would you change it? Like the whole reason why it was so popular is because I think that was like my first experience with the Games Workshop product. Was that because what was the original? Was the original one Mattel or no Milton Bradley?
No, so the original one was a Hasbro Games Workshop Milton Bradley partnership.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
And then Hasbro bought Milton Bradley and
Yeah, there's a whole thing there that it's pretty neat. But essentially, it exists now. It's cool. It's fun. The miniature quality is super nice, and they're going to be slowly coming out with all the expansions plus some new ones. So
nice.
It'll be cool to see how that all goes. So if people want to relive nostalgia, that's the way to go.
Yep. Excellent. The next photo I pulled up here is from the Monster Fight Club booth.
Yeah, that's John's 6-foot container ship.
Yep. It is absolutely crazy. So this construction here, or this table setup, is with the cargo, the container loader, as well. So and it's got a whole container yard behind it. But they're selling these containers now. They're all like crazy, snap together, fold flat.
Yep. I just checked them in. We just got our stuff early.
Yep.
So when you buy a kit, it's a black one, a blue one, a gray one, a red one, and a green one.
Right.
And it's $50, and they all come fully painted. You just snap them together.
Yep. Nice and easy to do.
They're super cool. All their terrain is great. Like you can, I tell you all the time, just go to the container store and you buy like a big Tupperware bin or whatever, and you can just sweep it all into the bin when you're done. Like you're not going to chip it or damage it or.
Yep.
That stuff's great.
It is super cool.
I mean, the boat maybe not so much, but you know,
the boats are like a club purchase, or it's a you got to buy it with a number of different people who all have a plan for it.
Yeah, right.
But,
it's insane.
Yeah, I know that the one that they had at Historicon a couple of weeks ago, friends of mine from the I-95 Gamers Club bought it at the end of the show. So one of them carrying the front of it down. So that's
I think
the front end and the back end are 3D printed.
Like 4 or 5 pieces. I think John said it breaks into like 4 or 5 pieces.
Oh yeah. That's central section you can see there has three sections to it.
Yeah.
So you could expand that.
Is
it
a
longer.
game or what? What is this?
This is the scenery, but they're using it for the Cyberpunk Red Combat Zone game.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think in the at Historicon they had one of the Cyberpunk flyers. It sort of landed on that the front deck there.
Nice.
So
Yeah, they're right next to us at the show.
all right,
So-
cool. Then next up, this is a shot from Josh of, I think this is Tech Commander, which is one of the games that Josh was demoing. So Tech Commander from Sea Dog Games. I'll get that right eventually, Josh. Yep. So we've got some crazy, what do you call it, mech stuff going on there.
Yeah, it has kind of like a BattleTech ogre feel.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems very like old school, but in a cool way, right? So,
Yep.
Tech Commander, there we go.
Commander.
When you want to order Mech Warrior and BattleTech on Wish, right? No.
Excellent. Next up here, we've got a shot of Warcrow. From
Oh, I'm excited for that.
yeah.
Wait, Warcrow or Spellcrow?
Is it Spellcrow?
It's Warcrow.
Warcrow?
Oh no, Spellcrow's the miniatures company. Warcrow's the new game. I always,
War-
that always
Yeah, Warcrow is the fantasy game from Infinity,
yeah,
but
yeah.
mainly just because the miniatures look so cool.
Well, the miniatures
I
always
just
pretty
hope-
cool if it's Corvus Belly minis. So
Yeah, exactly, right? So,
I just hope that they're not. I just hope that they're not the skinny metal minis like Infinity. Like I love the Infinity models. I do not enjoy building them or painting them. Like
they're gonna be the same thing. Why would they change?
Come on, guys. Let's adapt here. It's time to switch to some polystyrene. Let's get it together.
Let's check with Josh. What were they using there? What were the minis made out of? Check it out. But yeah, the demo table does look awesome, John. It's super cool. But the somebody noted as well, I think in the what's that?
So the buildings almost look like the old. Remember the old Osgiliath kits we used to have?
That's what I was literally thinking. I was like, it's kind of Lord of the Ringsy there, right?
A little
Like,
bit.
It's got that. It does have that feel, like the, just the shapes and the colors, Really.
Abe, did you not build that table?
I did not. No. I suspect,
Wow, how do you feel about that?
I'm okay. I think that was. I suspect it was Jay Walker from Warsenal who helped them make that.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
So yeah. In which case, super cool. We love Jay and his work.
How do you feel about that?
It's okay. I don't mind not building every table at the show. But yeah, awesome.
Hey, I just love the mileage that your Horus Heresy table gets, man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Josh said, not sure, probably resin. I didn't want to interrupt their demo. Yep. And Jonathan Plano, what are you doing? Are you trying to sell it here in the chat? No, Jonathan Plano is a friend of mine from Australia living in Canada. But he said, is anyone interested in the Borderlands game? Kickstarter by Monster Fight Club. So I think they're working on towards fulfillment of that, or have they just fulfilled?
I think they're in the process of doing their waves of fulfillment.
All right. Yep. Next up, we have a shot of the. I always forget this one too. This is a naval game that Sea Dog Games are selling. So this is a demo over on the Lucas Oil Stadium.
Is that a Blood and Plunder?
No, this one isn't.
Okay.
Josh will let me know in a sec the name of the game, but I know that the Firelock Games guys were there as well.
Yeah.
At the show. And
notice they're playing in the stadium too.
yeah.
Sail
power. There we go. Sail power.
Sail power. I'm gonna look at it right now. Hold on.
Definitely check that out.
It's an interesting scale. It looks bigger. It's definitely not like traditional, whatever 6 mil or whatever like the normal.
Oh,
size is.
for a naval game? No, this I think this is 28 mil. So you're talking about small skiffs and sloops and that kind of thing.
The models are So here's the thing.
Oh.
Check it out. Sail power models are available in 6mm, 15mm, 20mm, and 28mm.
There you go. All the millimeters. We want 54 mil. 54 mil.
Oh my! No, we don't. Josh said they're playing in 15 mil.
15 mil. There we
Got
it. So right in between us, Jake. Excellent.
Crazy.
Just quickly, next up we've got a quick shot of Arena Rex So the folks from
Yeah, Arena Rex.
Xbox games are there.
Those guys should always be doing cool things. That game is so cool.
Yep.
I love that their demo table is a Playmobil set. It's the best.
No, they totally built that, and it's hobby all the way, man. What are you talking about?
Dude, he that was one of my favorite stories that he told us. He said that they were getting ready to go to a show and they like found it and they were like, oh, this will be perfect, and they repainted it.
Yeah.
And they're like, but unfortunately, like Playmobil doesn't make this particular kit anymore. So people are always like, how do I get that? And it's like, you can't. They don't make this one anymore.
Right.
They pop up every now and again on eBay. You just got to set a reminder so that whenever they do. But I will say with this one as well, Ben Williams, who's a member of the group, does a lot of their studio painting, and always beautiful stuff.
Yeah, their cases are always super pretty. I always stop by their booth to check it out.
Yeah. Then next up, so this was some of the miniature painting that was going on at the event, at the convention. So I think Josh was saying this was like a paint and take area. You sit down for quick lessons, or basically there were painters walking around helping people out, giving them hints and tips or guiding them through their first miniature.
See a bunch of Jason Crazes stuff on the table.
Yep. So definitely cool that was going on. I didn't grab any of Josh's photos of the miniature painting competition, which was run by Lynn Ozek and in the miniature hobby events area. But there were certainly loads and loads of tutorials and classes being run up there, as well as another
That's great.
like paint and take. There was a speed painting session. There's always a speed painting session every year. You get a whole bunch of professional painters to sit down and take an hour to paint a miniature while distracting it. And then the miniatures are auctioned off for charity, I think. But
Caleb cleaned up. Caleb won. I think he won like 4 of the categories and won like overall. I
for
think
the
he
painting
won.
competition. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. And my buddy Clay Williams won the speed painting.
Nice.
Cool. But yeah, so head to the Facebook group, Build Paint Play. You'll be able to check out Josh's photos. I think he's got I didn't grab any because he's got like 60 photos in there.
That's totally fair.
So super sweet. Next up, we've got a shot in the events hall from of a Games Workshop event. You can tell because of the loads and the piles and piles and piles of plastic sprues. So this is one of their crazy kit bash.
Yeah, they've been doing that at a lot of the opens. They had at their San Diego event here a few months ago. They had that going on. I literally debated just like paying what I could just to go grab all the last cannons and cool unique capes that I needed. So.
You're like, what do I need for my squads? I'm gonna pick up those.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any lightning claws? I will take all of those.
Clip. Oh, look, it's a fence. Right? Like, yeah.
Excellent. Checking in the chat, Brian Martin said, I picked up the updated Aliens board game from Gale Force 9. Played nice and nice looking models. So
it's really good. I just sent Brian the latest expansion that he ordered from us. Or I sent him some stuff for his order, but he just pre-ordered the new expansion. In the Pipe 5x5 is the new expansion that's coming.
All right, cool, awesome. Josh has joined us, Josh from Crown of Command. So super cool to have you watching us live. Very cool.
Awesome. I love Talisman.
Real.
And,
all real.
Scott says, so that's what $212,000 worth of plastic looks like.
No, come on, that's not Forge World stuff.
That's like, yeah, that's like 200 for the first chair, right? That's just like, yeah.
That's just 4 boxes of Leviathan dumped out. That's all that is.
I was wondering where all the Sagittars went.
You got
it's all the tilting terrain.
I will say, I mentioned Sagittars last week. I've been looking for them for 6 months. Jake and Alpha Mega Hobby got some in, got 4 in. So I've ordered 2. They are hopefully on their way.
They are. You should have got an update today.
I think I did get an update, and it said, we'll let you know when they ship.
Oh, they shipped. They went out today, but
Yeah, no worries. I figured it was one of those lags, but no, definitely cool. So I'm gonna have those by next week. Maybe I'll have them.
it's such a cool looking
assembled.
kit. The Sagittar is so awesome. It looks like the Mako from Mass Effect.
Oh yeah.
Next up, of course, is we've seen this guy before. It's the Primaris Space Marine on his enormous golden base.
Oh, is this the new one for Gencon though? Is this the Terminator?
No, this is the Primaris Marine.
Okay.
Oh, the guy that we see everywhere.
But
Yeah.
That guy's great. So he was in the play area, and the Terminator was at the booth.
Okay.
So-
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Terminator they unveiled for Gen Con. I haven't seen that one in live yet.
No,
but
well,
that-
they built it for at the UK.
yeah,
For their. So my only problem with this Primaris thing, and you got to hear me out,
Sure.
is they had the wrong base color on it.
Right.
it should be Goblin
right.
Green.
That's fair.
It should be Goblin Green. It should have been Goblin Green, and I think that would have made it infinitely better, right?
Yep.
Like, oh, there's Drew.
So yeah, Drew,
Rocking the,
when Drew saw the Josh's photo of the Primaris Marine, he chimed in with the photo of the Terminator. So it's our buddy Drew Drescher taking a photo there. See, I would have got for the Primaris Marine. I would have also done the grey urban base with the black rim.
yeah, that would have been, obviously the urban base is the way to go. But really the way to go is Goblin Green with fake green tufts.
Yeah, classic.
Classic. Yeah.
I do like that on the Terminator they went the extra mile and you can see that he has the base so you can like you could take him out of the scenic base and have it be full size.
Hey, they may sell that as a kit.
Yeah,
later
awesome.
on, right? Like
Awesome.
Maybe.
Here's your 40 mil scenic base sets.
Right. Yeah, we definitely need that.
Which also they should do that. Why haven't they done that? That's a no-brainer.
so good.
Last week I did talk about the table that I built for GW. This is a shot that Josh got out of it for us. So, funny thing is,
Holy shit! You built that, Dave?
yeah, did you see that at the show?
I did not get over to the events hall, so I didn't. But that's massive.
So the weird thing was is that when Ryan, the events manager, and myself were talking about it, he showed me a layout. Like, here's how it's going to go, and it was like it's sort of like a little an L-shaped piece. I'm using my hands, but just realizing that nobody can see me, and even if I switch back to the big view, you wouldn't be able to see me because my camera's still frozen.
Right.
But like an L-shaped thing, which was like 30 feet long by like 8 feet. 8 feet for the little leg. So I built the table to fit those dimensions. Unfortunately, in the events hall, they had a thinner table that was only 20 feet long. So they were only able to put out like 5 of the pieces. There are 8 sections to that table. And originally I scaled it for, as per our discussion, scaled it for the Joy Toy scale, which is 1/18th. But they are using McFarlane toys on there, which I think are 1/12th. So the scale.
Yeah, that's why everything looks. That's why the orc looks like his head is sticking out of the top.
Yeah.
Well, come on, Dave. How come you didn't make him in scale with the McFarlane toys? Jeez.
I know. But so we got that picture. We also got.
So hold on a random question on this table though.
Yep.
What if we played with Imperial Knights? Then would it be more in scale? Right, we're like walking down a hallway doing a thing, right? Like
No.
It'd be close. I don't know. I bet you could fit like armigers and like a Redemptor. I don't know if an Imperial Knight would fit.
Yeah, Imperial Knight wouldn't fit.
It'd be
down the hallways.
close.
Yeah. The hallways are about
Also, that looks amazing
6.5,
on it.
7
That
inches
looks so
wide.
cool.
So,
It's super cool.
but yeah, there's one
look
with
at that. God, that's so cool.
the if you tried to use like an Imperial Knight, the skulls in there would be out of scale.
Okay. Well, would they? Maybe they're just like chaos
They could be.
Yeah.
giants
Chaos
or something, right? Like
Yeah.
Oh, they're all Ogren skulls.
yeah.
Who knows? But then we've got this final picture here. I'll show you.
Well, it's a lot of airbrush, right? Or you just use a little 20mm brush.
Yeah. Yep. It took a long time to build.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It all fits into a crate that's 6 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot.
Oh my gosh.
The
I think the knob can still win that. What do you think? No?
Oh, for sure.
I feel
yeah.
like the sisters got this. I feel like the sisters got this in the bag.
No, I'd put my money on the knob.
Who's the guy on the left?
It's a chaos guy. It's like a Dark Tide guy. I think it's a Dark Tide chaos dude.
Oh, like a chaos cultist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely dead. The cultist.
Oh,
is dead.
he's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He's decoration in the 5 seconds.
Yep. I think so. But
I feel like two sisters come out of that. I feel like they're gonna use like an.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Okay, I'm down.
excellent. Then
The cultist gets waxed, and then the knob takes out two sisters, and then one of the dying sisters uses like an act of faith and like annihilates him with a melter grenade, and then the other two sisters are like, praise be, and then they get out and they have to go murder that word bearer on the corner.
Yeah.
I
That word
see.
bear is not ready.
Yeah. Some sort of janky Dipta Sororitas act of faith thing. Sure.
The word bearers, you can see the word bearer down around the corner being like, hey, Gene Steros, do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior?
Exactly. Here's a quick shot of Josh and Ronnie Renton from Mantic Games.
Yeah. A great picture of Ronnie, too.
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
It's a great picture of Josh, too. What are you talking about?
Well, right, but I mean, Josh, took the
Josh?
photo.
Chuck
I figured he
Liver?
looked-
But yeah, it is an awesome... Ronnie just keeps getting wilder and wilder as he gets gets a little bit older. But definitely cool there. So there are loads of people to see and talk to. Josh also caught up with Uncle Adam, Adam Loper from Tabletop Minions.
Yeah, Adam.
He's good people.
So I can't tell who is running the demo game for who, but somebody's learning something. Josh will let us know.
I think that's that tank commander game or the
Yeah,
tech.
yeah,
Tech
Tech
Commander?
Commander. Yeah.
Right. Could be there.
Dave, your buddy Jonathan said that he's listening to us doing some finer details on his space holes. He was lucky enough to win Best Painted at the Adepticon 40K Champs.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Pretty good.
Very cool. Okay, Josh says there was no demo gaming going on. He was just catching up. But
Very opposite. He's like, it looks like I'm working. I'm really not. We're just hanging out talking.
that's good. That's good. Excellent. Now we've got a couple of shots of stuff in cabinets. Thunder Road. Vendetta.
One of the hotness games at the show.
I had the original when I was a kid. I remember my mom buying it for me.
Was this Restoration Games did this, or?
Yep, this is Restoration doing that, and it was a big deal because they brought some of the Kickstarter Deluxe editions at the show, which are no longer available. I think.
Was it the Chrome edition?
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
I will say, such an easy thing. Like, they were like, hey, let's make the 4 teams colored, and then what we'll do is we'll hit them with Nuln Oil, and then seal coat them. And I was like, genius move. They look great. That's all they need.
Yep.
yeah. And board gamers have such a hard time painting miniatures. It's just the most interesting thing, you know. Being on the Gloomhaven side of this now, right? Like, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, how to paint minis?" And I was like, "Here, I have like 10 people who have now like made new content. Just you can do it."
Yep.
Right. So.
Yeah, for sure.
You can get there. Next up, I threw this in because I'm a big fan of the podcast. Is Old Gods of Appalachia, the role
Oh
playing
yeah. Monty Cook Games.
game? Yep.
Yeah. The
Second
art,
biggest tabletop game on Kickstarter ever.
yeah, the art for this looks amazing.
They were
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
very clever to jump in and chat with these guys early on. But yeah, definitely awesome. I love the whole premise of it all. Of the Old Gods.
Yeah, they teased this at Gamma a little bit, and my business partner Ben was super stoked. We went up to the booth, and he was like, "Oh, they have it!" And he picked it up. And the woman's like, "That's just a dummy copy." And we're like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, our copies didn't arrive in time, so they just had the
Dust jacket.
yeah, like the dust jacket over like a random copy of something."
This isn't role playing. This is porn.
Oh, it was
What the
so
hell?
funny. Yeah, Ben was like, "Oh, this is gonna be great." And then he's like, "Wait a minute, this is the." I was like, "That's just the core rule book."
Awesome. Oh, Josh says, you mean Money Cook?
Yeah, who?
Yep. No, that's great. Definitely cool to see that at the show. And this was another fun photo that I really enjoyed from Josh's collection. It's a part of the cosplay parade, I would guess, but where all the folks are dressed up as different playing pieces or different Catan pieces.
Catan, yeah.
So
I should have figured that out. When he posted this, I was like, I have no idea what that is.
really,
Yeah, I should have put it together, but I just was like, I looked real quick, and again, having just come back from San Diego Comic Con, I was like, I don't really know who these people are supposed to be.
right? That's funny. I knew straight away it was Catan, but I've never actually played Catan, so I saw the sheep and that was it. So
That's all you need.
that's awesome. And then final photo from Gencon from our intrepid reporter. Here is Josh rocking out with a mighty cleaver. John Steining says brick for sheep.
Yep.
Only brick?
Oh, nice cleaver. That's cool.
Yep. So I'm not sure whether actually no, I did see them. I think in the video that somebody posted of the cosplay parade, the Goth Rockers were there.
Nice.
So I wasn't sure whether this axe was from them.
They were playing on Saturday, but also like Power Glove was playing too, and all these stuff. Like too many things on Saturday. They got to change it up.
For sure. Just as I always wanted to play an arena show. There you go. You got your chance.
Tick that box.
Excellent. So beautiful work there, everybody. That's our discussion. Well, that's our look at all of Josh's photos and some of Ross's photos from Gen Con. Okay, Ross. 5-minute wrap up of Gen Con 2023. What do you? What would you say about it?
Big things for me was you could tell the energy was here, and it was the biggest year yet. It felt busy. It felt exciting. It felt very cool. I talked to a lot of people on my lunch breaks who it was their first Gen Con or second Gen Con. So like you can tell that people discovered board games and tabletop games during quarantine and are showing up and doing things, which is very cool. There is a new generation of gamers and designers that are here. I met with a lot of folk that are in the tabletop RPG actual play space or in the pushing for more diversity with the Biopic Lounge and things like that are just trying to find their way in, whether it's through marketing or actual plays or live streams or design, indie stuff. And there's so many new folk that are coming in. That's awesome, right? And there's a big amount of that. There were so many new publishers that were around too, showing off new things and doing all of that. I would love to see those publishers that are online. I would love to see at Gen Con, but that can be for like a lightly after this. But essentially, like there were so many cool things that are happening. Obviously, Orcon had dominated a lot of the stuff that was going on, but at the same time, like there were so many new board games and new things and stuff like that. Everybody was selling out. Almost every publisher I talked to was sold out by like Saturday morning or Friday afternoon. Right. So, you know, you got to figure out like you can't prep for that, right? You bring 500 copies, 1,000 copies, hope it all does well, and all of that. So that was really cool to see, you know. And also, on as like a super like light moment, the weather was really nice. Like it was humid, but it was like okay, it's humid, but you're not like sweating through your shirt by the time you've walked from your hotel to the show floor, which in years past that's totally happened.
Oh yeah.
This one was just kind of like mildly warm, right? But like there was no swamp forming on your body anywhere walking to a thing, which was really nice. So yeah, overall I think Gen Con's going in a good direction, and I would think it is very much a look at how the gaming industry is going.
Right. Excellent. And they're in Indy for another how many years? 2 years? 3 years? Till 2020?
No, they just signed on for 20. I just saw reports saying they just signed until 2030.
2030, okay, radio.
Yeah, so which is like that's huge. I mean, we've already outgrown the space, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's Indy's second biggest event next to the Indy 500. So Indy's going to work hard to make it happen. Their turf is work hard to make it happen.
Right.
So I think that's going to be super cool. On trends that I want to see happen at Gen Con, unless we're going to have that be a discussion.
No.
But I think that there is a space for all the 15 millimeter 3D printing stuff that has been happening.
Okay.
The guys that are doing War Master, like the Forest Dragon guys,
Yep.
the guys that are doing all these smaller games, there is none of that at Gen Con.
Okay.
And I think if somebody's able to remember when Impact miniatures first came on the scene?
Yep.
And all the off-print Blood Bowl miniatures blew up and did all that stuff. I feel like during quarantine we've seen a huge rise with Mordheim offshoot miniatures, War Master offshoot miniatures, and a lot of this 3D printing, Patreons that you're backing and doing all this stuff, and there's miniatures doing that. We aren't seeing any of that at the Gen Con space, right? And while there's
a little bit.
Sure, but in little things here and there, it's not oh crap, did you go and check out this thing and do all that? Obviously with the minis guys, but I think there's a way that we could really, if we wanted to push the industry forward, be hey, are you a Patreon that does, STL stuff? Where you and there's a whole part of that industry that we're seeing in the miniature space online that I didn't see any of it at Gen Con.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so I think that'd be kind of cool to see there and see that grow.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
I mean, Privateer's full 3D print stuff, and I went and got that new troll box with the troll pirates.
Yep.
That's their new 3D print stuff there. The quality is super cool compared to their launch from last year to this year. It's really fun, and I'm excited to. I don't even play War Machine anymore, which makes me sad. But I was very happy to get that pirate troll box because it's so ridiculously cool. So I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. Right. So.
Right. Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's jump in. We'll have a quick run through the some photos from the group that we've had over the last week. First up, we have Bob Kelly, who's a new member to the group, with his work in progress World Eaters for Horus Heresy.
Dave, while we're waiting for that to pop up, let me just go on record as saying I think it's a great frozen shot of you.
It is.
You look so disapproving and upset.
Oh, I've been feeling judged the whole time.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I got no idea what's going on, but of course I can't go and check it out because as soon as I collapse this window, it destroys the graphics on screen for everybody else.
You're the host. You're the host. So Ross and I are only here by your good graces. So
yeah. So if I
totally
stop this, the whole show would stop. So we can't do that. We've done that too many times before.
Oh my gosh, these are awesome.
I like it. Looks good. It's getting there.
Those are great.
Yeah, definitely looking really cool.
I mean, these were blood splatter, but it's getting there.
Oh sure.
Right?
Definitely needs more blood splatter. But the the scratches all over the carapace for the dreadnought is rad. The chains and stuff. The jewelry chains are such a great cheat.
Yep. Yeah, definitely super cool for those guys.
Scott says this pic is from your picture is from the Lorcana chat.
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
It may well be. It may well be.
It probably is.
Yep.
Excellent.
But yeah, definitely cool there. So thanks for that, Bob Kelly.
It's gonna look great.
Next up, we've got another mini from Jeff Smith. So looking super cool. I think this is Puck. Is that right? It will come up.
Oh, is it the upside down guy? Yeah, it's not up on my screen yet, but I think it's Puck. It's Puck from Alpha Flight.
Okay. So at the moment you're just saying words that I don't understand.
Yep, that's him. That's Puck.
Awesome. But yeah, Jeff's done an excellent job here. It looks very cool. I love the yellow.
Yeah.
And the shading on the yellow there.
Dave is a very specific slice of nerd. He's not familiar with comics or role-playing games or most board games or.
Yeah, I am. It's a very finite slice. Everything else I've learnt by osmosis.
Yeah.
Like Catan.
These models are so good. The Marvel United minis are so much fun to paint.
Yep. Definitely super cool.
Those are great.
Next up, we've got a Ballistus Dreadnought from John Steining for his Ultramarines. So it's super cool to see John painting some 40k stuff again. But beautiful looking Ballistus. John does these awesome gradients and fades on his armor panels.
Yep.
And yeah, this Dreadnought is no different.
It looks great.
Yep.
It's super good. That's from the new box set, right?
That is,
that's
from
from
the Leviathan.
Yeah.
Box.
Yep.
I love that it's basically the old box knot. They're like, oh, we'll just put a missile launcher on. I was like, yeah, I've seen this guy before.
Yep. But he's taller, right?
Yeah.
I liked this. John provided a bunch of different angles, different photo angles for this Dreadnought, but I liked this one because it was kind of like a security camera view.
Yeah.
It's like you just at any moment you expect him to look up at it and then do something shady. But yeah, it was super cool. Nice work there, John. Great to see you painting again.
I like his white feet.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Next up, we've got some Marvel Crisis Protocol minis from Kelly Rowe. He's done a great job here painting the some of the X-Men.
I gotta go get those.
Got a nice sort of tight team there. Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm.
Those are great.
He did 2 full sets of them because he has all the alternate poses.
Right. Yep. I love this.
Because he's got that's like X Factor Cyclops, and then he did like classic yellow and gold with the headpiece Cyclops, and then he did Storm in her black costume.
Yep.
Those models are great. They're like that weird 32 mil or 36 mil. They're in that I think just slightly bigger.
Yep. I think Kelly's done an awesome job on these ones.
Yeah, they look awesome.
I do love that these are kind of have that subdued feel as well, rather than being.
Yeah.
I do love to see the super flashy as well, but I'm enjoying this. Look.
Yeah, like that Wolverine and his amazing Wolverine and his friends
Yeah.
vibe from that show, right? Yeah, where it's a little grim.
Yeah.
That's an example of me going, possibly. I don't know. Sure. Moving on, we got Nathan Sorensen. I think this might be one of Nathan's first posts, but very cool space fleet. Yeah.
This is why Dave gets so much stuff painted, Ross. He doesn't have all the distractions that you and I do of reading comics and watching movies and playing board games.
I mean, you just got to put them on while you're painting, I guess, right?
That
I don't know.
sounds counterproductive, but anyway, sure. Yeah, why not?
Wow.
I mean, that being said, I prefer painting in this setup right here. I could rather be painting with a group.
Yeah.
Doing all that,
Yes,
but
Sam.
it's
I need to
nice
be painting with people, otherwise it drives me nuts.
Yeah, totally.
One of the things I was going to say, that I actually said to Ross earlier, was that looking at his background there, where there's sort of nothing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have all of my stuff and all of his stuff too,
Oh yeah, totally right. That's
piled up around me.
For sure.
But yeah, Nathan's pieces here. I'm not sure where they're from. Not sure what game he's using them for, but I think
I don't know. It's not Drop Fleet,
no.
and it's not.
It might be A Billion Suns. It might be using A Billion Suns.
I have no idea what those are for. Yeah.
But I think the ships look cool. B, the shot is awesome. It's a great piece of photography. Loving it.
All I can hear is the Battlestar Galactica theme, the original one.
Okay. I think I watched that when I was a kid, so I hadn't found miniatures yet. So, next up we've got some Sisters of Battle from Patrick Keith. I'm not sure if Patrick's still in the chat, but he's been enjoying painting up these ladies.
Yeah, he's at the Palatine in the middle. She's awesome.
I've seen those online. I'm like, I've seen that photo. I've liked it before.
Yep.
Good.
It is super cool. He said it's all painted with Pro-Acryl paints, and you can see them arranged in the background there. But
Nice.
one thing I will ask Patrick is, why are you painting these when you said you were going to be painting Eldar? What's going on? We want to see more of your 90s Zelda.
That being said,
Ross,
like, how
Ross,
come they
you'd be
couldn't
proud.
base the Space Marine like that? Even just like a little basic,
Yeah,
some tufts and some stuff, right? Like, how would that have been?
yeah, that would have been good. I think having him up on a tactical rock would have been great too. But,
Oh yeah.
yeah, next time around, right? Cool. But no, looking great there, Patrick. Next up, we have Sean Gleason. He's working on his Eidolon of Mathlan, one of the Ideneth Deepkin leaders that has that big sort of cascading water cloak.
Dude, the fish elves are the best. I saw
Such a cool model concept.
Yeah.
there's a great conversion that I wanted to do. So somebody took this, did 2 hand swaps and a head swap, and painted him as a vampire lord.
Okay.
So his
Yep,
cape-
I've seen that. Yeah, where it's all the blood.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah,
I was
such
like,
a cool idea.
That is awesome.
Great.
Yeah. That's
But this model is super cool.
Yeah, I do love it. I love that also that it has like the little shoals of fish sort of swimming through it.
Yeah.
All that
Oh
kind of
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
that whole army is just ridiculously cool.
Yeah. It is definitely.
It's like, hey, do you like Aquaman? It's like, no, but I can see that you do.
No, but I like flying sharks, so I'm in.
Yeah. That's awesome. So great work there, Sean. Keep it up. Looking forward to seeing him completed. And then next up, we've got Stephen Ryder. Has been inspired by the all of the Legions Imperialis chatter that's been going on. So he's put together some of his old squat models. This is the what's this one?
Oh my
The
god, that's the
Colossus.
land tank, the land train tank.
Yeah, this is the Colossus.
It's the old
I
school
think.
metal one, right?
Pardon?
So good.
Yeah, this one, so this was probably released in like 92, 91, 92, something like that.
Yeah. So it's got the big siege bombard on the front, and then it has like the big thunder cannon on the turret.
Yep. So definitely super cool. This is the one that back in the day I crafted out of artboard. I would have sandwiched a whole bunch of layers of cardboard together and then sliced it up and carved it out. Put the detailing on with milliput. Because I had all the time but not all the money, so as a kid and a uni student in Australia. But no, definitely cool to see some of these models still around.
He just posted pictures of it today, all painted up. It looks great. He did it in the classic like the all green paint scheme with like the red. It's like the Christmas dwarves. So it's
Right.
like all red with like gold trim. It has little bits of red.
Yeah, excellent. Sounds good. John says probably lead. I don't. Think
Oh,
this one
100%
is.
lead.
I don't think.
That is 100% lead.
I think this is white metal because the US switched to white metal before the UK. So
Oh, okay.
and the coloration on there, that yellowing there, and the Christmas of it, I'd guess this is white metal, one of the earlier.
I'll take your word for it, Dave.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
I'd wash my hands either way, but
Sure.
Yeah, don't lick that, right? Like that.
Oh yeah. I'm not suggesting you should lick it, but
he's all. It doesn't taste like lead.
that was a very specific sort of thing going on. But yep, and we'll finish up, of course, with another built but not yet painted model. So our friend Jan is having fun with his Leagues of Votan. So he's just recently finished assembling a Hecaton land fortress.
Another awesome kit.
Yep, absolutely. And
His Herkimer battle jitney ready to go.
Oh, it's so cool.
yep, it is an awesome,
Most
awesome
GI
kit.
Joe thing ever, right? Like,
Yeah.
But he asked an excellent question in the group about at what point should he be putting that canopy on, and how does he get it going there without frosting or causing any other sort of issues. Cliff Edders gave a great rundown of a scale modeling approach to it. So if you've got the time, definitely check that out. It's a great suggestion.
Yeah, Cliff knows what he's about. He nailed it.
Yeah, I would go with something a little bit quicker and easier, but probably not as precise. but that would be to spray it with a matte varnish first. So you lose the gloss of the sheen of the windows, but spray it with that gives a good base for you to paint all the cross pieces in, all of the structural pieces of the window.
Right.
So you can paint those black or grey or whatever color you want to do them, and then you come back and paint the panes of glass with a gloss varnish again, and it takes it back to a clear gloss. You can drop that over the top of your model.
There you go.
And the best suggestion that I think Cliff's got in there, and a lot of other people have used as well, is rather than using super glue to glue it in place, sometimes you can get frosting on your clear parts with super glue. Just use a little bit of PVA glue around there, and then don't be too rough with your models. But absolutely awesome. Tester's clear canopy adhesive. Well, there's a suggestion I hadn't heard before, Josh. I'll have to go and check that out. I've got two Sagittars heading my way, and I have one sitting next to my desk, and I'm going to buy another Hecaton Land Fortress. So
That one, I think we have that in stock. So,
yeah.
but maybe Jeff does.
I think Jeff's got a Hecaton Land Fortress, so I'll spread my money around between
Yeah, I know. We appreciate it.
my
We
favorite
appreciate
hobby
it,
stores. But no, definitely cool.
I think so. Great.
Okay, and kind of surprisingly, my camera is still frozen, so we will wrap up the show with me looking kind of disinterested in the organic.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. We feel judged, but with love, so it's okay.
Just remember at home, kids, that's Dave judging your model. That's what he's doing.
That's how I look. Yeah, whenever I'm checking through the group looking for models to grab for the show. Okay, let's get that one.
Everybody holding their model up to the camera. Dave, what do you think about this?
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's got paint. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, how about that? Somebody's trying to call me. But none of you could see that, so I shouldn't have said anything. Anyway.
You would have known.
Okay. Well, we've reached the end of another show. We are almost right on our 1 hour 40 minutes.
Pretty good. We are consistent.
We are consistent.
Got it. It's good.
For sure. But so this is really off-putting for me, just seeing me frozen there. Anyway,
I'll just have to come back on
here,
time.
Ross and I'll help out.
Yeah, there we go. Feel much better now. Thanks, guys. So yeah, thanks very much for joining us, Ross. It was super cool to have you on the show. Have a good chance to chat with you, and talk about Gencon, Cephalofair games, the stuff you've been doing for Gloomhaven and Frosthaven, and where you think things are going, or how healthy you think the industry is at the moment. It's definitely cool to hear that sort of stuff.
I'm always happy to come on and do that. I really appreciate the invite. You guys are doing a lot of really cool work with the group. It's really cool to see you guys are helping a lot of people, get painted and do that. It's a very welcoming community, and it's always good to see that. So I'm glad I can come be a part of it, especially after a Gen Con bit. So thank you for everything you're doing, and I'm glad I could come on.
Cool.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Enjoy your week off. Your week off.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be.
Burritos every day.
I mean, I didn't have one today, but also dinner is still available, so we'll see what happens, right? So.
Awesome stuff. Very cool. I also say thank you very much to Josh, our impromptu unpaid roving reporter at Gen Con.
He's an intern. He's on an intern salary.
Oh, intern salary. Okay, radio. Fantastic. We'll have to send something your way, Josh. But it is greatly appreciated. We would love to be there in person next year. The next show that I'll be at will be Nova Open in just under 4 weeks, which will be super cool. Very excited about that. Jake, you gonna be able to make it to Nova?
I might. I'm thinking about maybe coming down instead of for the whole show. I might just come down for like Saturday or something.
Okay.
So I might just come down for the day. And then the next one from me is New York Comic Con is a maybe.
Okay.
But then I will definitely be at PAX Unplugged.
Right, yeah. Cool. I will also definitely be at PAX Unplugged.
Awesome. I'll be at no Nova for me, unfortunately. I've never gone to Nova.
You have to do it 1 year.
It's
1 year, the
I
stars
would
will
love
align.
to.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's a West Coast thing, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'll be at Big Bad Con at the end of September, and then I might be at PAX West. I'll be at Spiel, and then I'll be at PAX Unplugged.
Excellent.
So,
Super cool.
yeah.
We'll all have to meet up and find a burrito place at PAX Unplugged.
Yep.
In Philadelphia in December.
Maybe.
Yeah. For sure.
I think we can just get a Philly cheesesteak and call it the equivalent of. I think
Sure,
that'll be
okay.
Or we can wrap that in a tortilla.
It'll be a regional burrito.
Yeah. That totally applies. It's good.
Awesome. It's more of a taco, though, right?
Yeah,
Has an open
technically.
side. Anyway, keep going.
We're doing one of those conversations. Okay. Is cereal soup?
Yeah,
Right? Like,
it is.
Yep.
I would totally agree.
Awesome.
Well, listen, guys, everybody, thank you for joining us. Please make sure you do your business out at the bottom here. Make sure you subscribe, tell all your friends, hit the little bell so you'll get notifications and stuff. And as always, don't forget to build, paint, play.
Excellent.
Shut up and sit
it.
down. Romantic, isn't it? Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.